Not that my goal in life is to be famous and rich, but it would be pretty nice.
I won't be like a young 20-something like living in Paris.
The difference between a reason or an excuse is subjective. If everything we're saying sounds like an excuse to you, maybe that's a sign that you gotta get up and move to Paris.
How you choose one path in life, you just will never take these other paths. You see these experiences that other people are having online and you're like, oh, maybe one day. But now as my 20s are coming to an end, I'm like, that will never be.
Yeah.
Like it won't be one day. Or if it is one day, it will be a very different variation of that.
38-year-old me is not gonna look back at 28-year-old me and be like, double chin. Like, no. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast, Stop the Internet Podcast. My name is Kelee.
And I'm Tricia.
I'm bleeding. I'll just address the elephant in the room. My finger is cut. I just pinched it on a tripod. We were saying how our intern Kenny had off today, so it was our job to set up all the equipment, and obviously it did not go well.
It's tough work.
Don't mind that. Yeah, it's actually way harder than it seems. Not everyone could have a podcast.
You have to be a special kind of person.
Yeah, you have to be able to put in your blood, sweat, and tears for this. Today, we're talking about stress, specifically stress in your 20s. And I was thinking like it's more existential crisis kind of stress.
Yeah.
Rather than like day to day. So we're going to dive into it. But before we start, we were just talking about day-to-day stresses.
Update. My lips got severely sunburned the other weekend for Julia's graduation. My little sister, shout out.
Congrats.
Yeah, I thought I had enough sunscreen on, but I guess it wasn't really like on my lips as much because I have gotten so sunburned on my lips where I look like Kris Jenner in that one episode.
No way.
Yes, like swollen lips.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But someone at work this week was like, your lips look great. I was like, they're sunburned, but thank you.
They're literally, oh my God, I just had a frog in my throat. I'm so sorry. They're literally destroyed.
Yeah.
They're like, they look so good.
Like, where'd you get them done?
Wait, that's so funny. It's like free lip blushing from the sun.
Yeah.
They actually do look really good.
Thanks.
They do look like a perfect shade of pink. Thanks, sunburn.
Thanks.
My only life update was that in January, I got a second hole in my earlobe.
Love
it was going very well. They put in like the safe earring to use. Like, you know how they make better earrings for piercings? Okay, so it's like this new style where it doesn't have a back. Oh, sorry. Where it doesn't have a back. Yeah, it's just like a, it's like flat on the back, basically.
Wait, I have that in this one.
Okay,
this
yeah.
tragus. It's a flat back.
Okay, yeah, it's actually not new, I guess. It's new since we were like 10, probably.
Yeah.
Like when we were 5 and got our ears pierced, this was not the technology. But anyway, yeah, the flat back. But the back is pretty thin. So, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Skip forward if you don't want to hear this like gross thing. It's only going to be like 30 seconds, I promise, because it's not that interesting. But I was like putting a shirt on or taking it off or something. And I guess it got caught on my earring and it pulled and I felt this like big pain in my earlobe. And I was like, ow, like I screamed, ow. And I was like, what was that? Did I pull out my earring? I reached up to feel it and it was there. So my earring was there. It was fine. The next day, I'm in the car driving and I'm just like touching my ear, the back of my ear. There was nothing on the back. But the way the earrings work is the back is the main piece. So like you put the back in first and it goes through to the front. Then you put the little gem.
That's this one. Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, where it's gone. And then I felt the front and it was there.
You're getting a phone call.
Erin's calling me. Hey, what? You're live on air. She needs to be let in. Okay, hold on.
God, Erin.
So sorry, we're back. Back to my bloody... Never mind. Okay, so anyway, I felt it in the front and I didn't feel it in the back. And I was so confused. Like, what is happening? I then realized that the back of the earring had gone inside of my ear. Like, it had gone inside of the lobe. And that was what the painful, like feeling... It hurt so bad when I thought I ripped it out. I actually just ripped it, like, halfway through my ear. And then it was just, like, hanging out.
Wait,
like,
how big is the back?
It's probably... Wait, I'll show you on this one.
Oh, okay.
It's small.
Yeah.
But it's way bigger than the size of a piercing.
Please look at mine. Do you see how big that...
Oh my God. No. I would have had to have surgery.
That's what I was picturing.
No, thank God.
Should I show the camera?
Wait, maybe we can take a close-up photo. Or no, we should look up like millimeters or I don't know. Do people care? Hers is way bigger than mine. Mine's
That's
not that
what I
big.
was picturing.
No. Oh my God, thank God. I actually would have had to go to the doctor, I think, if that thing went through my whole, ew, what am I saying? Yeah, so it wasn't that bad. But then I was nervous because I'm like, oh my God, how do I get it out? Like, is it going to hurt the same amount? Like, is it going to mess up my ear? I was trying to wait until I got home to like mess with it because I'm like, oh, like what? I don't know what to do. But I did just kind of like play with it a little bit and it went back out. Ew, I'm sorry. This is longer than 30 seconds. It was bleeding, like, and it just set the healing process back so far.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah, and this one on this side is perfect. Like, it feels flat. Like, you know how when you get a new piercing, it feels like there's a bump inside from like, the scar tissue, and then it flattens out when it's healed. So this one's totally flat. This one's still like hard in there, and I can feel it, like the little bump. And it's every single day. It still is like doing the things that it would have done day one.
Yeah.
Ew, I'm trying to say this and not
so
be disgusting, but if you don't care, don't listen for a second. It's like, it has like a little bit of like liquid, and it's not pus because it's not like green, but it's like, it makes like liquid. I don't even know what that is. I guess it is pus. I don't know. And like, it sometimes bleeds. And it's been how long? 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, I actually got it exactly 6 months ago, 2 days. Like,
really?
Yeah. So it should be like very healed. And I guess maybe it would have been if I didn't rip the thing through it. So now I have this other earring in that's like doesn't match, but it's easier to get in and out. And then this weird thing was happening where I would take the earring out to like clean it and stuff. Now that it's like starting its healing process over again. And when I would take it out, so you're supposed to put the back in first, like through the back to the front. I like couldn't get it to go in that way. I could only get it in front to back, and it would go in perfectly front to back. But then back to front, I couldn't get it through. And I have no idea. I do not understand. Like I'm questioning what a piercing is at this point. It's like
literally
when you pierce something, and I'm genuinely wondering this, when you get your ear pierced and then it fully heals, is it like a donut? How it's like all dough that's like it's all like perfect skin. Around it. All the skin around it looks normal. That's kind of like how gauges look, you know, like if someone took out gauges. But then what does it look like when it's healing? Because what is going on right now? Like, what is happening inside of my earlobe?
Yeah,
that, like,
probably like cartilage exposed.
Yeah, I guess it is. But why can I not get it in one direction if it's a straight like cylinder hole? Like, that's so weird. And
maybe you're going at a wrong angle.
I have to be. Like, I have to be,
because that used to happen to me, and I think it was the angle, because it literally makes no sense.
I guess it like, it might be spongy. So
maybe you're getting caught. This is disgusting. Maybe you're getting caught like in the cartilage around it.
I know, it's so gross. Remember when I said this section of the podcast would be 30 seconds? Sorry. It's so gross.
Yeah, piercings are weird.
They're so weird.
They're weird.
It is kind of weird too to even think about the idea of like piercings and jewelry. Like, we just put holes through, like, we mutilate our bodies so that we can
like
put
sparkly things on ourselves.
And it's gone back to like the most ancient prehistoric times. Like, the earliest humans did this. Like,
no, I think about that so all the time.
Weird.
They wore like sparkly necklaces and stuff, and I'm like, why? What?
Yeah.
What instinct? Because I feel like they went based off of instinct. What told them that's important? You need to do that.
Yeah.
Put a necklace on or something.
Wait, I'm totally making this up, but if I had to guess, I wonder if it was like to show status. Like,
probably
if you were able to like hunt for an animal, then you like ate the animal and kept the fur, and it's like the more fur you had, the cooler you were, and then it just kind of went from there. I don't know.
We're such anthropologists.
Oh my God, I know. We're really breaking ground here in historical research.
No, but I want another piercing, but I like don't have the patience for the healing process.
Oh my God, it's crazy. It takes so long.
This one that I have, it's my tragus, for those not watching. I got it on my left ear first, and it didn't heal well, so I just took it out, let it close up, and then I got it redone on this ear, and then it was fine.
What do you mean it didn't heal well? What does that mean?
It had like a bump above the jewel that would not go away. It just couldn't go away. And I got like steroid shots into it. Sorry, that's disgusting. Yeah, I did like tea tree oil. I did all of the cleaning that they told me to do, but my friend who like has a lot of piercings, she told me that the shape of the post in the piercing can affect how it heals. So I had like a curved, it was like a hoop, like a complete circle. So inside the ear where the piercing was, it was curved. That's how the hole was trying trying to heal in like a curved
Yes.
way.
Okay.
And she was saying like with the more like tough cartilagey spots, you want it to be like a straight post for while it heals.
Sense.
And I thought it was a keloid, which those are like, it's like an overgrowth of scar tissue and it never goes away, like ever. And that's what some of my doctors told me too, because I got it looked at by multiple people. And then I took it out and it went away. So I think it was just inflammation because it wasn't healing well. Yeah.
Wait, because that bump thing, I had my nose pierced for like 10 years and it's so weird like how this happened. But I got it pierced in 2015, like March of 2015. It was my freshman year of college. And then in the fall of 2023, so like I guess 8 years later, I started feeling like, okay, maybe it's time to like take it out. I don't know. I might be like over it. I might be done with it. And then one night it fell out, or day, I guess. I wiped my face.
You don't have it anymore?
No, I don't have it anymore.
Oh my God.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It was the day after our holiday party for the podcast. I was washing my face and then I looked down and there's like something on the towel and it's like the little jewel. And I was like, well, I guess the universe just made that decision for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, my face looks like so different without it, even though it doesn't, because people didn't even notice. One, when I got it, and two, when I took it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I got it, it did have those little, like there was, you know how they say put like the water on it, the distilled water on it for like 6 weeks? It was like during that time, if I like missed a morning or missed a night, that would happen. But then I would wash it with that water and it would go away in like a day. So is that different? I guess it's not what you're talking about.
I mean, maybe it was the same. Mine just like did not go away until I literally took out the earring and let it close up, and then it went away.
Wow.
Yeah, but if it was a keloid, it would not have gone away, even if the hole closed and everything.
Okay,
it was supposed to be
that's
like
a different thing.
Overgrowth of scar tissue, which just wouldn't go away.
Right.
So it turns out it must have just been some weird inflammation that like I couldn't get rid of.
That's so
like it was just like irritated by the earring, I guess.
Yeah.
So then I got it redone on my other ear with a straight post like earring, and it was totally fine. Easiest healing process ever.
Did you go to the same place to do both?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Because the place that I went for the second hole, the guy was so serious. Like he took, and that's a good thing, but he took this job so seriously. Like they had so many rules.
Really?
Yeah, it was in January. This is like after COVID. Like there was nobody in there, and it wasn't even like a room. It was just like you stood behind this door, but there's 3 of us, and he said only one of you. Like so, one person had to be alone.
Wait, that's how it was for me too. It was very much like no one else can come back here.
So maybe that is normal. That's how it was.
Why.
That's how it was for my nose piercing. But it was like this place in Philly where you go into a room and the door closes and it's like a smaller space. And there was like, I had a few friends with me, I think. And he was like, only one of you can go. I didn't know that was standard. But yeah, this guy, like, there was nobody there. We went so late at night. It wasn't in a city. And there was only like one other person with us, and he was like, no. So then they ended up like not coming. I don't know. It was really whatever. He also had these rules about like, we don't pierce anyone under 16, even if you have your parent with you, which I've never thought about, but it totally makes sense because your ears grow and change. So like what's center when you're 5 is not going to be perfectly center when you're 25. And my holes are like that. Like I realized that my holes that I got at Piercing Pagoda when I was 6 are not even, which is so funny.
Really?
Yeah, you can barely tell, but you could tell when he was lining up the second holes, because I was like, wait, like he made the second holes even though the first 2 holes were not even. And I was like, wait, do you think that's a good idea? Like, because then like it's like, let's say half an inch away on this side, but on this side it's like maybe a little bit less than that, something like that. And he was like, I think what I did is right. And I was like, okay, I'll trust you. And it looks good. So
you're the professional.
Yeah, but anyway, he had so many rules. So what I was going to ask you is like, I wonder if there's certain places that will not pierce it with a hoop because they know that it's not healthy.
They should.
Yeah, I guess.
And I know the material matters too. Like my first piercings were from Claire's, and they recommended gold because it's like good for healing. But I think now people are saying either like titanium or surgical steel is like the best for healing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, so Claire's has real gold? Or I guess it might be gold plated.
It was probably coated or something.
Yeah, painted on. I don't know which one is which. Like plated.
I think it's all the same. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, Claire's. Did your parents take you there? Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, I remember my mom took us to Piercing Pagoda, or my parents took us to Piercing Pagoda. That was like before the time where everyone was like, go to a
Like a tattoo.
Tattoo parlor.
Place. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, that back then it was like, there was like these stereotypes. Yeah. There's stereotypes around tattoo parlors, but Piercing Pagoda uses a gun to like, And then I've been seeing so much recently about how that is like terrible for you. Like a gun, like shooting a sharp point through your skin is a traumatic injury. Like a needle is so much safer than that.
And people were saying they like can't clean the guns that well.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing. We had
gross.
Yeah. We had to wait like 20 minutes maybe for him to prepare the space because they have that machine that all of the stuff, I forget what it's called, but
they like sterilize it?
Yeah, you probably know what it is. For maybe you, okay, never mind. I was gonna say like hospital stuff, but it's a machine that you put stuff in that it sterilizes it.
Okay.
And obviously they can't do that with a plastic gun.
Yeah,
I don't know. Oh, also this is another gross thing about piercing, so skip 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this. When you pierce with a needle, the needle is hollow, so it takes like the core out of your skin.
Oh, I never thought about that.
And a piercing gun doesn't. It just like shoots it through, and there's nothing that like a piece of skin doesn't like come out, but it's way safer to just like remove the piece of skin.
Yeah, I could see that.
And so sorry, keep skipping. Mine
keep going.
Mine fell off of my earring. The piece of
skin. Did you see it?
Yeah. It only fell off on one side. Yeah. Very gross. Like, why do we do this to ourselves? Fashion.
Literally, yeah. When I got this done, like I got the first one done when I was a senior in high school. And then I got the second one done junior year of college, like the redo. I remember my friend was like, oh, nice piercing. Like, I don't think he had really seen that many of these. So I was like, yeah, like I don't know. I used to have it and it didn't work out and I want to try it again.
It didn't work out.
It didn't work out. But we're trying again. And he literally said, yeah, I just think it's so interesting how people do things like this to just make themselves seem more unique. And he wasn't being mean. He wasn't being mean. He was literally saying like, it is just so interesting, like fashion and how you express yourself. You try and like make yourself unique. Like he's a good friend. He was not being mean, but I think about that a lot. I'm like, yeah, I honestly did choose this piercing because I feel like back then it wasn't as common. I had really never seen it.
That's true.
And I was like, this is unique. Like he literally knew what I was thinking.
It was less common. I do agree with that. Because I feel like there used to be the stigma around like piercings as a whole. And if you got anything more than the lobes and maybe one cartilage, it was like, ooh, like that's bad. Like my parents would not. My dad was like not upset, but he was like, oh, cool. Like when I got my cartilage pierced, like, that is ridiculous.
Yes.
It's a little, like you can't even see it.
Yep.
Like you could, and also I got that at Piercing Pagoda and you could barely see it. Like she honestly fucked it up. Like I wish it was in a different place so that you actually could see the piercing. But I'm like, no, there's literally not even a point of having this because you can't see it at all. And you were still like upset about it. No, they would not have let me got my tragus even though I was like interested in it.
I paid for it myself. So my parents were kind of like, I guess.
And look at you now.
Yeah.
Look at you. Wait,
I turned out horribly. I'm clearly such a rebel and bad person.
Wait, that's so funny that guy said that. Yeah. No, I do see what he's saying. But it's funny because I also think that people get piercings to be like other people as well. Yeah. Because if you didn't have your ears pierced, I would almost feel like something is missing from you because every outfit is like, what earrings are you wearing? Yeah. Like, so I would think it's the opposite for some piercings. And the same thing with like belly button piercing. Like that was a trend. I'm glad I never got that. But I think people got that because they wanted to be like in the crowd of people that get that. Yeah. But I guess some people do get it to try to be unique. Interesting.
But throwback to like Catholic school, literally not letting you have more than one piercing in your ear. That was my high school. Wait, they didn't allow any extra piercings besides one in your lobe. Well, I got this, I guess it was the summer when I graduated. So I was no longer a senior in high school. I was more a college gal. So
wait, that's so funny. I didn't go to Catholic high school, so I didn't have that. The only thing I remember is you weren't allowed to dye your hair unnatural colors. And there was a girl in my 8th grade class that got purple streaks in her hair. And it looked like so cute. I mean, she had black hair and like, it's so funny to think that like that is what people think makes you like edgy. And like it could make you edgy, but like this girl, like it was just this fun little thing that her mom approved. And like they were like, you have to wear your hair down because you can't see, Like, also some of the teachers were probably like, oh, that's so cute, but then a few of them didn't like it. I think the principal didn't give a shit, and then it was the teachers that like wanted to have a problem with it. Yeah, my principal was so chill. Like, I remember when I got my braces off, they tell you to chew gum as much as possible because it strengthens your jaw, so then your teeth like set into place more. And they wrote the note and whatnot. I go into school, my principal's like, I was late for school that day. My principal was like, oh, let's see the new teeth, like they look amazing. She's like, all right, go to class. My mom's like, oh, by the way, she has to chew gum now. My principal's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. I go upstairs to class, the teacher yells at me. I said, well, the principal's name said I could. And she's like, all right, well, if she said she could. She was like so annoyed about it. I was like, why the fuck do you care? Like, you gotta relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I sometimes wish I could go back and like experience like grade school and high school again.
I think about this so often.
Because like, you as a kid, you just accept all these crazy rules. You're like, yeah, makes sense. Can't have more than one piercing. Obviously, can't chew gum. Like, yeah. But then thinking back, I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, none of that makes any sense. And why does anyone care enough to make it like a rule?
Yeah.
For all these kids to follow.
And like, I kind of get it when it comes to like a dress code, and you could argue that earrings and hair is part of a dress code. Hair, I think even less, because you should be like hair, like whatever. But anyway, I can kind of see it when it comes to a dress code, but I do think about that when I think about it all the time. It's not like I'm sitting here being like, I want to go back to 5th grade so bad so I can stick it to
what
that.
I would do.
Yeah. No, it's more like I think about the experiences that I had and the way that adults treated me at the time. Mm-hmm. And I feel bad for that little girl. Yeah. And I'm like, I wish that I could go and stand up for her so that she didn't have to like, and also it's like, it's not like they were abusing me, but there was things that are absurd that like Catholic school teachers said to me, did to me, and my mom would hear about them and be very unhappy about it and like write to the school and stuff. I don't know. It is funny. I do think about that a lot though. And I'm like, of course, if I knew then what I know now, it's like, I wish I stood up for myself a little bit instead of just like accepting this treatment just because they were adults and they were like teachers. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. We should do a whole episode about Catholic school stories.
Yeah, we should.
My Catholic school stories, like just a few of them are insane.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. We should do that.
Cool.
Let's start
I'll write it down.
Yes. Should we start talking about our stresses of our 20s now that we got grade school out of the way?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like there's not even a transition into this part. It's more just like we're going to have a conversation about all the existential crises that people have in their 20s.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you formatted your thoughts, but I made like little different categories that we could like go through.
I made like just bullet points and they were pretty broad, but well, maybe not broad, but like I think that they're nothing groundbreaking. Like everyone has these thoughts.
Well,
potentially.
I guess it doesn't have to be groundbreaking though to be like important.
Yeah.
My first thought about this whole time is just, in my opinion, your 20s are the most transitional time of your life. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, you truly go from being like a child to being an adult. And I know like legally 18 is an adult, but to think about like myself as an 18, 19, 20-year-old, I'm like, no, you were very similar to a child. And now you're more similar to an adult. But also, time just moves shockingly fast. And like every year we say, oh my God, this year flew by, like it flew by. But I really think like it's truer and truer every year. But I think one positive is that, at least in my experience, time flies by more when you have fulfillment and happiness. And I specifically noticed that because the last breakup that I went through, which was a while ago now, but I just remember time was so slow. Like,
yes.
Which I think is a good thing, I guess. Not a good thing that it goes slow then, but I just remember talking to my friends when I had just gone through this breakup, or I was going through it, and my one friend was like, oh my God, it's already this date? Like, the past 2 weeks have literally flown by. Mm-hmm. And I was like, really? I feel like the last 2 weeks were so slow and took forever. And my friend was like, oh. But I think that that's like a positive reasoning if you look at it the opposite way. Like, that is when time goes so slow, at least for me. And then when time is like flying by, it's because every day I have like something fun to do, something fun to look forward to. And like, time flies when you're having fun. Oldest saying in the book, you know? So maybe that's a good thing. Like, maybe there are reasons to be thankful that time is flying by. Yeah. Even though it is like scary and forms existential crises easily when you're like, holy shit, my life is going by so fast.
Yeah. So 2 weekends ago, I was down in Delaware for Julia's graduation from Thursday to Saturday. And then I went to DC to visit with my boyfriend to visit his mom and his niece and sister Sunday and Monday. And that week, from the Monday of that week into like the Monday when we were in DC, was one of the longest weeks I've had in a while.
Wow.
And I was thinking that, but like, I was so happy about it because we were just doing fun stuff for like the whole week, and I was just having a good time, like we were doing all these events and all these fun like graduation things and just seeing all these people, and I was like expecting it to like fly by, and it didn't, and I was like, that's such a nice change of pace. I wasn't expecting it. But then like you think like my sister's wedding that happened a few years ago, that flew by for me.
The day or just the whole process?
The process did not. But the day did, and it's like you do everything you can to make it slow down, and it was a long day, so like in retrospect you're like, is that the word? Retrospect? Yeah. You're like, oh, like so much happened during that day. It was such like an eventful, fulfilling, fun day. But I remember that night I was like, man, it's already over. Like we've been waiting for this day to come for over a year because like COVID and stuff happened and pushed it back even further, and then it came and it flew by. And it's just tough because you're like, you want stuff to last, and like you want to like appreciate it while you're in the moment and like slow time down. So I don't know what I did for Julia's graduation weekend, but I'm like, that was so nice. Like I think I just felt very present. I wasn't on my phone. Usually I'm trying to like take pictures of stuff and document things, and like I just wasn't for some reason, and I just felt very like in the moment, and like whatever comes next is like, that's, I don't know how it is, and I'll just accept it and stuff. Like, because I didn't really know what events were coming next, so I was just kind of like
rolling with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of like made it feel like a nice long weekend full of fun, which was interesting to me.
Yeah, I feel like that happens to me sometimes when you have a lot going on, but only a few things specifically planned like during the day. So I'm sure this happened to you for the graduation, because it's like a lot of like relaxing, spending time together, just like almost like downtime. I hate using the phrase killing time because like time is so valuable. Like it's annoying to have to like kill time sometimes, but like downtime where you're just like enjoying life. And then you have like specific things planned, like the graduation itself from like 3 to 4 or whatever. And I think on wedding days, it flies by even more because once your hair and makeup is done, you have an event every single minute. Like it is planned down to the minute. And I think that just makes it go by so much faster. Whereas if you had like an hour to sit alone or with your friends, it would feel like such a long day. And I'm a wedding photographer, and sometimes I just encourage brides to plan time to not do anything. Because you literally have something planned like every single minute. And I was just chatting with one of my brides about her timeline and how she was like, oh, can we just do this during this time? And I was like, we could, but I really think that you should just go inside and sit down for 30 minutes before your wedding, because that's going to be the only 30 minutes of the day that you have to just like sit and not have something planned. Be smiling in a photo, saying hi to a guest, like just sit with your bridesmaids and your family and just like get ready for your wedding ceremony, And she was like, okay, that's so true. Like, so I do think for me at least, like finding a balance between like planned things and going with the flow helps me like feel time go slower, I guess.
That's so true. Because I feel like when you have like events and stuff, I don't know, your brain is more in like go mode. And it's hard to be present. And that's such a, whenever people say like, be present, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. And I never actually like put effort into it, because I'm like, I do feel like I'm present. Like, what else could I be? But when you actually like are present in the moment and not worrying about like what comes next, and you're just going with the flow and like, just not worrying or thinking too hard, then time does slow down, it feels like.
I agree with that. And weddings are such a good example, because you are always like fighting for time, basically. Or not always, but it does feel like that, even when you're not. Like as a vendor, even when I'm not fighting for time and I'm like, oh, we're good, I will notice that the couple is, or the bride is like, wait, do we have to leave soon? And I'm like, I'm fine. Like I think just take a deep breath and like we're gonna go when we have to go. Like it's fine. And I think that helps. But like actually planning time to not have to go to the next thing. Like like I think is very valuable.
Yeah.
And that is interesting how you were like, I think I'm present because like what else would I be?
Yeah.
But no, it does kind of take effort. And I think like honestly planning that extra time could help a lot, actually.
Yeah. And there is actually a difference between like, I'm here enjoying my event, doing whatever, versus actually being present. And like, I don't know how to explain it. It's so weird because I feel like I don't experience it that much.
That's kind of sad.
I know.
Yeah. I almost feel like for me, it's kind of like looking around and understanding that like the moment that you're in isn't just like free time or like a passing moment. Like maybe reframe it in your mind and be like, this is the time that I am spending with my family before my wedding, before my graduation. Like, this is the time I'm going to sit down and I'm going to like chat with my friends. And like, I don't know, I guess maybe that seems more stressful because I'm saying don't consider it to be free time. But I actually think that thinking about what you're doing at that time in that 30 minutes or that hour or like a few hours does make you value it more.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I'm going to listen back to this and be like, I literally could have said this one sentence and gotten my point across perfectly. But right now I don't know how to like explain what I'm trying to say, but you're helping. Like, what you're saying makes sense to me, and I think that's like what I'm trying to say.
Trish and I, for the rest of the episode, we kind of just both have different sections of life that we have thoughts on that cause stress and crisis in your 20s. I do kind of think they'll flow into each other though. So do you want to go first, and then we can kind of go back and forth unless like we get into a flow like naturally?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll combine my first two because they're kind of similar, but I've always been like worried that I didn't travel enough. And going off of that, I've always had the thought in my head, like, should I have moved away from home and experienced like a different part of the world or the country on my own, been forced to make friends on my own, like explore a new place on my own, get out of my comfort zone? Because I just feel like I always see like videos online or people online saying, oh, I moved to Germany for a year and like this is my cute apartment and these are my friends and this is what we do. And I'm like, I will never do that. At least on my own. I probably will never do that. And like I won't be like a young 20-something like living in Paris, going out at night. I don't know. And I always think about that. And I saw this TikTok a long time ago. I probably can't find it because it was a long time ago. I know the creator of it, but should I shout her out?
Yeah.
Autumn Gruber. She posted this TikTok and it was like, it's interesting how you choose like one path in life and you just will never take these other paths. So like for me personally, like this is not in her video anymore, but like for me, like I guess I chose the path where I went to school, like college near my family. Then I graduated school, lived with my parents for like 5 years after college. And now I'm out living on my own, but also still I'm with my family. Like I'm still in my hometown, like I've never left and I'm always with my family. And I love that because I'm so close with my family. I can see my parents anytime I want, like every day. My sisters, like my brother lives in Colorado, but like, so like that's the path that I took for my 20s is staying in my hometown and being near my family. But then like other people, they'll move to a new city and they'll like build their own life out there, like away from family, away from friends. But then they like make friends that like become their family and they find their favorite coffee shop. Like they make these new like routines and stuff. And like, I just will never do that. Like that will never be in the cards for me. Even not even, but like not related to moving somewhere, but just like traveling a lot. Like you see all these people that are in a new country like every month. And I always thought like what better time to do it than in your 20s when you don't have kids and like you're not really tied to a place and you just have so much freedom. But I never did that either. Like I chose the route of like staying in my hometown. And you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the stuff you choose to do in your 20s kind of, you see these experiences that other people are having online and you're like, oh, maybe one day. But now as my 20s are coming to an end, I'm like, that will never be.
Yeah.
Like it won't be one day. Or if it is one day, it will be a very different variation of that because maybe I will be married or have kids or I'll be older when I like do all my traveling or move somewhere else. You know? So
it's so crazy to think about like the life path thing. And I have seen videos before too where people will be like, I'm living my city corporate girl life, but
I think it's the same TikTok.
okay, maybe it probably
because
is.
she was like, I didn't I'm not like a surfer beach town girly who gets like a smoothie bowl every day, and I'm not near my family. Like I'm not like a hometown girl, whatever. I'm a corporate city girly. Like that's the one that I chose.
I wonder if we did see the same video. I do think that's an interesting, I don't know. I have so many thoughts about that because while like it is important to have experiences and like do things in order to grow as a person, I also don't think that the only way to do that is to go and move and live somewhere else. I don't think, not that you're like beating yourself up over it, but like if anyone is doing that, like I don't think that that is a reason to beat yourself up, because there are so many reasons why people do things. And I think the only time that you should be like, or not the only time, but like if your reasons for doing that are positive, then I don't think it's a bad thing to do. Oh my God, I'm literally stumbling. I am saying this in the worst way.
I know what you're saying.
Basically, like there are reasons why you could move away to Paris for a year, and there's reasons why you could stay in your hometown. If you're not moving to Paris because you're scared, because you're like, I just decided that I'm not brave enough to do that, but you want to so bad in the back of your head, or you're like, yeah, I have money to do that, but like I should probably just put the money in my 401k and never spend any of it until I'm 60. Like if that's the reason, maybe don't do that. Maybe beat yourself up and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna make it happen. But I also think that but I think on the other hand of things, if you grow up in a town that you love, like another thing, I think we're spoiled because we grew up in the suburbs of Philly, having so much access, like so close that my best friends, their address was always Philadelphia, like growing up. So Philly's a big city and there's so much opportunity there. So it's funny when people are like, oh, get out of your hometown, because it's like our hometown is so great. And by hometown, I mean like the entire surrounding area. Like there's so many places that you can live that aren't my specific address, but like, you know, are not that far. But anyway, just this general area. I'm like, yeah, I could move away and do the exact same thing that I'm doing now, but just do it in California or Arizona or whatever. But I am fulfilled by spending time with my family that lives here. Like I am fulfilled by going on trips to X, Y, and Z places like a couple times a year. And I also think that some people are cut out for certain things and some people aren't. The idea of like up and moving to Hawaii or Paris or something, like it sounds so great, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be happy doing it. And like, I'm not saying don't try it, but I guess I'm more thinking of like, if you're beating yourself up over the fact that like you've never like taken this other life path because of positive reasons, like because I feel fulfilled doing this, I feel fulfilled living here, this is where I feel most at home. Like, I think it's fine to do that and like make that decision, because while having new experiences is great, like not all of them are good. And wait, I feel like I'm being so negative and I'm like making excuses. Like that's not really what I'm trying to do. Like, I guess there's that quote that's like, sometimes I feel my bones straining under the weight of all the lives I'm not living. You can't live every single life in the few years that you have. Like our life goes by in like a blink of an eye. It's like days are long, but like years are short. Like that kind of sentiment. And if you are feeling fulfilled, I think that's what matters. At least my perception of you, like I would say for the most part, you are fulfilled. Like,
yeah, definitely.
So I think that's more important than being like, well, I never got to experience like my Parisian girl life. Well, that Parisian girl didn't get to experience living with her mom for X amount of years. And then you don't have your parents forever. Like you don't have your friends forever. Like you don't have anyone forever. And like, it's so sad. And like, actually, this is a really good example. Like when I was younger, I wanted to be a surf photographer so bad. Like it was like my dream for a few years. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to travel all over the world and like photograph surfing. And there's this photographer that I really looked up to. She lives in Australia. And I'm like, she's so lucky because she just like lives on the coast. And if I just lived in Malibu and my whole family was in Malibu or, you know, Hawaii or anywhere, if I grew up there, I would have it so easy. Like I'd be able to just do the job and also see my family and not have to feel guilty about leaving my family all the time, leaving my friends. And then she posted like sharing her story more and more as like her career grew and she got bigger. And she posted, this life may seem glamorous and like it's so great that all I do is travel and I get to like be with all these pro surfers and they're my best friends and yada yada yada, but I gave up so much. And she wasn't from there. She was from a few hours away from the coast, and she moved away. She moved to the coast and put herself in the places that she needed to be in order to be successful, like in that career path. And she said, I gave up so much. I gave up so many family parties. Like I gave gave up so many friends' birthdays, my parents' birthdays, like all this stuff, but this is now my life. But you can't have it all. Like,
right.
It's so,
right.
It's sad, but like you can't have it all. And like in a way, like you can, like, I don't want to be like negative, but like, no, like you can't spend your 25th year of life in Paris as a surfer, or in Hawaii as a surfer girl, in Paris as a model girl, like in Florida as a beachy girl. Like you can't do all, like maybe you could make it work doing 22-year-old in Hawaii, 23-year-old in Paris, 24-year-old in this other place, but like most people can't. Like you kind of have to pick what matters to you the most, and you have to be okay with the sacrifices that you're gonna make in order to have the thing that you want right now. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. I'm not trying to be negative and be like, well, just don't leave your hometown. I definitely think you should if you want to. Like, just think about the reason why you are making the choice that you're making. If it's like an excuse, that's probably when you should change it. But if it's a genuine reason about how you're living your life and it makes sense for you and it feels fulfilling for you and you're like, yeah, that would be great, but this is really where I am drawn to. Who cares if it's your hometown or not? Like, you're allowed to live in your hometown. You're allowed to live near your parents if that is what makes you feel so fulfilled at the end of the day. And like, yeah, living in Paris would be nice, but living near my mom matters the most. Yeah. Because most people can't have both. Yeah. So that's kind of how I see it right now. And I really don't want to sound like I'm trying to like make excuses for like why I live near Philly. Right. And I grew up near Philly, or like why I'm gonna probably live near Philly in my life. And this is also where I grew up, or like, I don't know. I think that's my thought on it.
And honestly, like we are lucky because I think it's a beautiful area, like where we live.
We're so lucky.
Maybe I would have had more of a push to get out if it was like, not to knock any other place, but like at middle of nowhere, Nebraska, like maybe I would have been like, okay, I kind of want to see the world. But I do think that we live in like a really nice area and like it's naturally beautiful and there is so much for us to do and experience here. So I've never like truly felt the push to get out. I've always been very content here. So, and I still am, but it's hard not to have the thoughts like, what if I chose this, or what if I did this? But no, I am very happy. And like, I think I always pictured some future self that I don't even know, like different personality, Trish, like going somewhere and doing something, and it never happened because that's just like not me. I just always like pictured that would happen eventually, but I'm like, well, no, it's not me. And now that I'm 28, like I do know who I am and like what I value, and it is like family time and friends and living in a pretty area, and like this does it for me. So you know what I mean? Like I've never felt the need, but like I said, it's hard not to have those thoughts.
It totally like, is. And we are biased. Like I am so biased because our culture where we live is so different from the culture where other people live, even like California to here. So in our culture, like the Philly area culture, even New York, you spend your winters in the city and you spend your summer driving down the shore or like to Long Island, to the Hamptons, like whatever. And that's a really like privileged, I guess, way of living. But that is how we grew up. Like we grew up going to the shore on the weekends in the summer. You live in the city like in the winter. Like it's this perfect balance.
Yeah. We have all 4 seasons. Like, it is like, it's a good place to live.
So we are so biased. Like, and also we live in an area where if someone else was like, I'm gonna up and move to this place, I think Philly would be on the list, honestly. Like New York, LA, maybe Austin, like California, Hawaii. Like there are people that like up and move to where we live. So we are so biased. Like, and it's so easy to be fulfilled here because you are like, there's just so much opportunity where we live. So I definitely have a bit of a skewed perception of it. I'm also like so privileged in my job and with my family. Like I have been able to travel a lot, and I have future plans of travel as well that I will be able to achieve with my life right now. Like I will be able to do these things as long as I live. Like if I'm alive, I'll be able to do them. And if I'm dead, I won't even know the difference. So like I am privileged.
Period.
Like I'm privileged, so I know like that's where this is coming from for me. I don't know. I do think regardless, it comes down to the reasoning, because all these things that we're saying, like these are reasons. Like in my opinion, they're not excuses. At least they're not for me. Maybe they would be an excuse for somebody else, but like it really only, like the difference between a reason or an excuse is like subjective. Like it depends on the person and each situation. So yeah, if everything we're saying sounds like an excuse to you, maybe that's a sign that you got to get up and move to Paris or get up and move to Hawaii or you know, wherever you actually want to live. So yeah, I think that's how I feel about that. But it is so hard. It's so hard. One of the points that I wrote down was comparing yourself to others, and that's relevant in every single point of life. Like
exactly.
Any age, anything. But
and all of our points that we'll talk about today are all probably based in comparison.
So true. Yeah. So true. For me, like a lot of the comparison comes in like career and money, because I'm really happy with where I am with family, relationship, like children. Like I am happy with that. Like I don't want kids right now and I don't have them. So I don't look at people with kids and like envy them at all. But I do look at other people with different career accomplishments or monetary accomplishments that I don't have. And honestly, it definitely stresses me out, because I'm like, holy shit, what are you not doing? Like I don't even sit around and be like, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you not doing? Like
Same.
And I have things that I want, but for some reason, like a day would go by and I'm like, well, what did you do to work on the podcast this day? Like you didn't do anything. So like you need to work harder. Like I think about that, but then I do feel sad when I see like somebody else start a podcast and it like overnight success. And I'm like, damn, like I actually have to work for that. Like, so that's kind of where I find myself comparing myself to others. And it's hard to like accept it, but I do also, more recently, I have been trying to find inspiration in that comparison, because instead of sitting around thinking like, oh, well, they have that because their parents were rich, or like they just have X, Y, and Z that I don't have naturally. So of course they're going to be famous and rich and whatever and whatever. Not that my goal in life is to be famous and rich, but it would be pretty nice. But no, but like, instead of thinking about all the reasons that they have it so easy and why it happened overnight for them, I think, what are you doing right now that she's not doing right now? Like, and it's down to like, I get distracted and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch TikTok or like whatever. And then I will be watching TikTok and then something will hit me and be like, is this going to make you money? Like, is this going to get you closer to the goal? And like, obviously making money isn't the only thing in life. You're allowed to like watch TikTok sometimes and not be like money, but like it's a goal of mine to like make more money, to have a life that I want. And there are times where I get distracted from working and I do these irrelevant things. And then I have been trying to use that as inspiration and be like, girl, what are you doing right now? Because how is this getting you closer to your goal? And it doesn't have to be money. Like when I think about this, it could just be a goal, like any goal on earth, even fitness goal. What is sitting down, putting off working out, doing for your goal? Because it's not doing anything. It's actually hurting you. So I could look at other people and be like, oh, they're so fit, but like, oh, it's natural. Like it's so easy for her to go to Pilates because she lives next to a Pilates studio. Like I can do it too. I can do it too if I just put my mind to it and make a different choice that day. But I do go through waves of like, sometimes I compare myself and I do that. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? Make a different decision right now. And then you'll be closer to that girl or like that person, or like, you know, my life will be closer to their life. But sometimes I do sit around and I'm like, well, holy shit, I'm a failure. And like, I'm never going to succeed and like, blah, 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 blah. And all these things that I can't shake it. And that's a terrible feeling. And yeah, I don't know how to always get out of it. But I guess like none of us do. And that's like the issue that we all have.
I know. And I think it's like, it's nice to remember that probably everyone has these thoughts where it's like, what are you doing? Like you could be doing better. You know what I mean? Even those people who seem very successful, they're probably also sitting on TikTok every now and then saying like, wait, what am I doing? I can be better.
Totally.
So I think we just have to go easy on ourselves. Like I recently was having these thoughts too at Julia's graduation. I don't know why I keep on like relating everything back to this.
It's so relevant. And college graduation is like such a core part of your life, your 20s.
It made me so nostalgic too, to be back and like experience, like she was with all her friends, and like they have such a good relationship with each other. They're all so positive and supportive. Like, I don't know, it was such a nice time. But anyways, back to what I was saying. At her commencement ceremony, they did honorary degrees.
Okay.
Which, like, people who have a lot of success in certain fields will get honorary degrees.
Yeah. I think Taylor Swift has one. Like, she's not actually a doctor, but she's like an honorary degree from NYU or something.
The speaker who, oh my God, what was his name? Joe Flacco.
Wow,
Joe Flacco spoke at their commencement.
He's a football player, right?
Yes,
okay.
yeah. So he got an honorary degree, but then they had 3 other people who were also recognized for honorary degrees, and they were just listing off their achievements, and I was like, oh my God, I'm just so impressed by these people. Holy cow, like they've done so much in their lives. For the first time in a while, it was more inspirational to me than stressful to me. Because I was like, I don't know, I used to be so, not that I'm not driven anymore, but like when I was in school, I felt like I was very driven. I wanted to like do my best, be super involved, like, you know, just like have my resume be 20 pages long of like achievements and involvement and all this good stuff. And then I don't even really know what my point was, but like they were just like listing off all of these great achievements that these people had done in their lives. And then later in the ceremony, they recognized all of like their Fulbright scholars and like other people who had done research and like had these great achievements. And I was like, oh my gosh, I used to be so into that kind of a thing. And I just felt like I had such a good trajectory and like drive, and I got my first job, and it's just like it's hard in your 20s because there's so much change. And so like when I got my job, like it was just such a big change in my life. It was all I could focus on, and I felt like anything else that I had maybe pictured for myself kind of fell to the wayside. And I do think I had moments of being hard on myself, like why am I not going, or you know, like focusing on those things again and like pushing myself more to like reach, you know, like my highest potential and stuff. But it's just hard in your 20s. There's just so much going on that you just have to be kind to yourself. And I do feel like now that I'm like later in my 20s, I'm like maybe I could just pick back up and you know, do things that I had pictured for myself a long time ago, as far as like maybe go back to school or do something that, do you know what I'm saying? Yes. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I think it's normal just to be hard on yourself for like not always doing your best and always being productive and like, you know, trying to achieve your goals. But you just have to give yourself grace. And then I feel like eventually, like if you give yourself time, you will come back to that. Yeah. You know, like your drive will wax and wane, and like you just have to be like nice to yourself about it. Yeah. You're not going to be perfect all the time.
That is such a good point, that it is okay to go through phases where you want different things, or like you have more energy or drive for different things, especially like career. I also think that the goals and like what you value changes so much. Like I've never really valued going back to school or like having a master's degree for myself, because I just don't need that. Like in like what I want to do in life, I don't need that. I don't exactly relate when it comes to like going back to school, but I also think that when you're in your early 20s, you think that like having, at least this is, I don't want to like make a blanket statement because this might come off wrong, but like school and like having a master's degree, having a XYZ degree, doctorate, whatever, for many people, those are not the most important thing in your life. Like that's almost more to either make yourself happy because of your ego, make your parents happy because of their egos, or to be able to get a raise at your job, get a raise or like advance your career. I kind of think the last two, if you're not doing it for that reason, like why are you doing it? Yeah. Because if you're doing it for your own ego and just to say that you did, like that's really not important in life, in my opinion. So like I do kind of think that your goals change as you, I mean, I definitely think that like my goals have changed immensely since I was in my early 20s. And I think that's fine. Like a good example is like surf photography. I mentioned that earlier. I wanted to do that so badly, and I never like found success in it. But that's partially because I realized that I actually just don't want to do this. Like and that's okay too. Like realizing that your goals have changed like doesn't mean you failed or that like you didn't do all these things you pictured for yourself. It's like, yeah, because I pictured them when I didn't have a clue. Like I pictured them when I didn't even know what life was, and I thought that that was what was important. And then I had more experiences that like grew my outlook and my perspective, and I was like, oh wait, yeah, that's just like one little thing. That's what like 18-year-old me dreams of.
Yeah.
But now I've grown and like 28-year-old me doesn't honestly give a shit about that. And I think that's fine too. But obviously I'm kind of like not really even speaking to Tricia's point. Like her point was more, or your point was more like, if you realize that, oh, this is a goal that I almost forgot about. And like, I still have time to do it. Like, that's great too. But I also think like same point I made before, but like the reasoning for it is the reason because you want to do it for yourself, for your goals, for your life, or is it, oh, I want to do that because I want to be able to say that I did, or like my parents want to be able to say that they raised like a daughter that has X, Y, and Z degree. Like, think about the reason before you like beat yourself up over it, and
spend all the money for it.
Very true. Very true. And make sure that you want to actually do the thing that you're spending the money on. And if you get halfway through and you realize I absolutely hate this, it's okay to stop doing it. It's not a waste of money. Like you tried it and it would actually be a waste of money to stay in school. That's my opinion,
a waste
at
of
least.
time.
Waste of time. My friend just went back to school for a completely different career path, and they got halfway through the school program. And the school program is very, very like working intensive. So basically they were working in this field doing the things that, like, I guess you could call them an intern, but they had their own clients. They basically realized, oh, I actually hate this. I hate the lifestyle. I hate the hours. It doesn't fulfill me. It actually just drains me more. And while I've had a good time, like up until this point, like this actual career is completely different than what I thought it was going to be. And they realized like, I just will not be happy in my life if this is my career, because they were so unhappy in like the internship part of it with these like clients filling up half their time and school filling up the other half of their time. They were like, when this fills up my whole work schedule, I will despise this. Like they looked forward to breaks. They looked forward to like breaks as in like the weekend, holiday breaks. Like that is when they felt the most fulfilled. And then going back to school and going back to the work is when they were like, I hate this. And they dropped out, and they're so much more happy now back in this other career. And like, in my opinion, that is not a waste of time. That's not a waste of money. That's like moving to Hawaii for a year. That's like moving to Paris for 6 months and testing it out. Like, if you moved to Paris for 6 months and you said, I just didn't really like it, so I moved back to New York, wherever you live, would people say, oh, well, that's a waste of time? No, they would say, oh my God, that's an amazing experience and I'm so proud of you. But then if you like try another career or school or something and you realize you don't like it, people I think would be quicker to be like, oh, well, you failed. Or like, you should have just finished it. Why would you ever just finish it? No, don't waste your money. Don't waste your time if you're not happy.
And I feel like at this point in life, it's honestly so brave to like acknowledge that this is not for you and to stop it before you get too far, or not too far, but further, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard. It's so hard. I honestly don't know if I would stop. Even if I hated it, I'd think, well, I'm already in it. I have to finish, or else people will think that I failed.
Yeah.
And I'll think that I failed too.
Yeah. And like, I could see it for undergrad, honestly. Like if you are a second semester senior in college and you have like a few months left, or even a junior and you're like, I have 1 year left, like that's different. But if I'm talking like grad school, a program outside of like, because I will say a lot of jobs do require degrees regardless of what they're for. So if your goal in life is to have a corporate job, sure, stay in undergrad.
Right.
Just get the degree so that you can have it on your resume and then get a job. Like that might actually help you. But if you're doing a program outside of that, like you try beauty school and you hate it, culinary school and you hate it, like master's degree in psychology and you hate it, those are the things that maybe you drop out because it's just clearly not for you. And it's not going to get better once school is over if you hate doing this thing.
Yeah.
If you realize in hair school that you hate doing hair, you do not need to stay in hair school.
Right.
That's just my opinion. But it's not going to be more fun in a few years. Like if anything, you're going to resent it more in a few years. And I think on very rare occasions, it could grow on you.
Yeah.
There are examples. There are anecdotes out there. Somebody hated it in college and now they love it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a minority. Most people probably hate it more.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that? I don't even know how that one started. Okay.
That was yours, I think. It was
careers and stuff, like comparing yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. I have so much more to say and I feel like this episode is like almost over. But one more thought about the career and like the money. I think obviously career and money are very aligned a lot of times. I guess there could be a career that you love that makes no money and a career that you hate that makes a lot of money or like whatever.
Yeah.
But I think money is something I think about a lot because I have a lot of unmet goals when it comes to money for myself. And something that I feel like I've heard a lot of people say is like, oh, well, I learned how much money is in this other person's bank account and it like made me feel so much better because I'm actually doing better than I thought or something like that. And I kind of actually think that that's like not a good way to think.
Yeah.
I've noticed on TikTok recently a trend is like, let's share how much is in our bank accounts. Like we need to normalize talking about how much money we have. And
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's a newer thing I've been seeing recently. I do see where it's coming from because I do think that it's really important to give people perspective. Like if you want to live this style of life, this is how much money you have to have. And I remember when I was growing up, my parents never told us how much money they made or had or anything, like the price of vacations. Like they never told us anything. And then at one point, like I remember asking my mom when I was a little bit older, like in high school, and she's like, I don't want to tell you how much money I make. And I'm like, but I need to know how much money I need to make in order to have this life. Like, how do I give my kids this life? Because I need that much money in my life.
I remember I asked the price of my parents' house because I'm like, I don't even know a ballpark number for what a home costs.
Yeah.
And I was like 17 and I'm like, I know I'm not buying a house, but like I need to know this information. Like I don't even know ballpark. What's normal? $10,000?
Oh my God.
$1 million? I don't know. you know?
Yeah. So I do think it's very valuable to talk about it like that. And also you kind of value it more when you realize that it is fleeting or like how much things cost or how much money your parent makes compared to how much money it costs for you to go to school. And this is actually like a crazy thing. My one of my really close friends went to a more expensive university and their parents paid for it. And they said during COVID, when everyone was living at home with their parents and they saw how hard their dad worked and how many hours it was in a day, because the dad was the breadwinner of this family, how many hours this dad worked and like how hard they work, how much effort goes into it. My friend was like, I would have gone to a cheaper school because I felt bad asking my dad to give me that much money. And I was like, that like hits me so hard because like my parents worked so hard their whole life. And like, I would have loved to go to Syracuse and spend like $78,000 a year. But I would have felt so bad like asking my parent. It wouldn't have happened. But like, it just, I don't know. It's interesting to think like that. So I do think like having those conversations is important. And like, obviously everything worked out for the best. Like my friend went to their dream college and their family is very, very happy and like their lives are all great. So it's not like it would have changed that much if this person went to a cheaper school, but like just an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing to think about. So definitely there are benefits of talking about like how much money is in your bank account right now. But at the same time, like when I think about my goals and I'm like, oh, this person that I'm comparing myself to, but I'm on like the lower level of the comparison, that like makes me feel shitty. But I also I'm like, okay, I need to like get it into gear and like get going so that I can like get to my goals. The opposite way would be like, okay, well, don't beat yourself up because you're actually doing better than you think. Like you're doing better than all of these people, or like, oh, I learned that like the average savings is this amount and I have higher than that. I have that amount. That doesn't make me feel better, actually.
Same.
Like at all. Like it doesn't make me feel better whatsoever to think that like I have slightly more dollars in my bank account or my savings than this person.
Right.
Like
Same.
I don't care at all about that, honestly. Like that is not comforting to me. So I think that, I don't know, like I get where people are coming from when it comes to like the comparing and being open about it. But at the same time, part of me is like, that's pointless. Like if I'm venting, not that people are doing this, but if I'm like ever venting about like, oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and someone's like, well, you're doing better than most people. I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter. Like I remember seeing a TikTok where this girl was sharing a recipe for a smoothie, and it was this like morning smoothie that had all these greens and fruits in it. And she was like, put this, and this, and then sneak in kale, this thing, broccoli, this thing. And she's like, in your morning smoothie, you have more nutrients. Yeah. She was like, you have more nutrients and vegetables than most people have in the entire day. And I was like, wow, that's great. Okay, I saved the video. That's why I remember it so well, because I saved it so that I can make the smoothie. But I'm also like, why would I give a shit how many vegetables somebody else eats? Like, that is not what I should be basing my meals on. I should be basing my meals on me, not I get more vegetables in this meal than most people get in the day. Why the hell would that matter? Like, but I totally get where she's coming from, because like in theory, you could compare yourself to everyone else. Like everyone else right now is me. I am am everyone else. So then when I do this smoothie, like, yeah, I'm getting more than I used to. So I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, we should not be making decisions based on that.
Yeah.
Unless they are inspiring us to do better, you know, because I think actually that I'm doing better than most people, that actually makes you more complacent, or at least for me, it would. Like, it would
same.
Yeah, it
too.
would actually discourage me from working harder or like trying to get to a goal, because I'm like, well, at least I got this far. Most people only get that far. Like, that's not what I should be telling myself. But I do think that I'm like back and forth so much. Like, they really flip up so fast, but they really change up so fast. But that is a good way to talk to yourself, to get you out of a hole and like to get you out of like panic mode. You're like, okay, no, I am doing well. But don't use that for like every argument in your whole life, you know? Yeah.
So this one I feel like is kind of quick and like a little surface level, but it is like something I think about frequently and maybe like look back on my 20s with a tad smidge of regret. But I do get stressed that I didn't like go out enough, have like crazy fun nights with my friends enough, do XYZ, like experience. Like, I mean, you can throw travel in there, like my previous point, like, did I do enough of whatever? And also, like, did I document anything enough in my 20s? Like, am I going to look back on my life and be like, I don't even remember what I did because I don't have, like, the videos and pictures to show for it. But then I always think, I'm like, well, like, our grandparents probably had, like, 3 photos per year. Or not really, but, like...
No, probably. Like, some
You know what I mean? Like, the content that we have of our lives is so much more comparing to, you know, like previous generations and stuff. So I definitely have enough footage of myself. But it is just like, it's such a stress that I have. Like, and it's just interesting. Like, I feel like it's a common worry for humans, like self-preservation and have like storing your memories somewhere other than your brain, like the fear of forgetting stuff or like good feelings. Like, I'm always thinking about that. Like, if I see like a pretty day, I have to take like 50 videos of like just the trees blowing in the wind or something, as if I won't experience it ever again.
Oh my God, wow.
I know. And yeah, I do. I have like the worry that did I document enough fun moments with loved ones or like candid photos of people laughing that like capture the feeling of that moment. Those are some other stresses I have specifically like from my 20s.
Yeah.
I'm not even worried about like my teenage years or prior to that, because I feel like that's more out of my control, and now like I'm more in control of it. So I'm like, did I do enough?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't actually think about that as much. Like, I don't think about like, am I documenting enough? But I do feel that like a similar way when I think back on times where I wanted to take like a vibey photo. I actually don't think about this that much, but if I had to like relate to that feeling, this is probably where I would come from. But like the idea that like not every photo has to be perfect. Like when I look back onto like trips and stuff, like every photo doesn't have to be like Instagram grid worthy. Like just take pictures of your friends smiling. Like you don't need this like perfect pose and like your outfit, and make sure to get the shoes in there. Like when you're looking back on memories and unless the point of the photo is specifically outfit photo, like sure. But if you're just trying to grab a photo of you and your friends at like dinner or like at the bar or like on your day out on Saturday, like it doesn't have to be perfect. Like just take pictures of your friends smiling together, like your faces close together smiling. And I actually think about that a lot with wedding photos. Sometimes when I'm photographing the bridesmaids with the bride and we do like individuals with like the bride and each girl, like there are times where we'll like fluff the dress and it's like this perfect thing. But then there's also times where if the dress falls beautifully like on its own and we're like in a time crunch, I'm like, it's okay if that's not perfect. Let me get you and your best friend smiling at the camera together, because that's what matters more like in that moment. And so if like I have to choose between spending X amount of minutes like while we are on a time crunch, like I'm not talking like on a normal like perfect wedding day, but like if we are running behind and the choice is fluff the dress to get the perfect full body like X, Y, and Z, when we already did a million of those. Solo shots of the bride and groom earlier. We have the full group shot with this.
We know what the dress looks like.
Yeah, we got it. I have the dress hanging up earlier. I have the dress here. I have the dress in every other setting. And this is the one-on-one bridesmaids photos.
Yeah.
I don't prioritize that unless I have time, because what matters most is you and your best friend smiling at the camera together and looking at each other and smiling at each other. Like, you're not gonna mourn that there's something on the back of your dress that like we finessed it out of the photos. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I don't want it to seem like I don't care about like details like that, because if any of my clients are listening, I swear to God, it's like my number one like thing. But if we are in a time crunch and it's a close-up photo, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay if a little piece of your shoe is sticking out of your dress, whatever. Like, you're gonna use this photo as a memory of you and your sister, like, not how to remember your dress perfectly. And like, obviously, if we have enough time, we're getting the perfect photo and the close-up face photo. But yeah, but I just feel like that in a lot of settings too. Like, not every single picture has to be like, oh, we'll get this angle with like my hips sticking out like this, because that's going to matter to you probably for like the next few years. Like, when you look at your bridal shower photo, or like you on your birthday, when you look back, you might be like, damn, if only like my waist looked a little more snatched, or like something like that. But in 5-10 years from now, I think you're going to look back and be like, oh my God, we were so young. We were so happy. We were having so much fun. Like, I look back on photos of myself from like last year, the year before, and I'm like, oof. Or like a picture now or a vlog now, I'm like, oof, double chin, or like whatever going on. If I look back at pictures from college, I'm not criticizing her.
No, same.
High school, I'm not like, ew. She should have turned her waist a little bit more, so her 16-year-old photo would have been like a little cuter. Who the fuck cares? Like, no. And it's so sad, because I criticize my photos now and I'm like, ooh, like, I wish you had a better angle. I wish you looked skinnier. I wish you looked prettier. But there's a version of me 5 or 10 years from now that is going to look back on these photos and be so happy that I had them.
Yeah.
And they're not going to criticize my body.
Right.
Like, 38-year-old me is not going to look back at 28-year-old me and be like, double chin. Like, no. Who cares? Just take the photos.
Fix your chin, girl. Like, no.
No. And I know that's true, because I'm not looking back on photos of me when I was 18 criticizing my weight or the size of my body or anything, the shape of my body. So whatever.
So take the photos.
Yeah, take the photos.
And I for me personally, try not to worry about taking enough photos, because I have enough. I know I have enough.
But
I do get stressed about that.
I was just saying a completely different point than you.
No. It all relates.
Yeah,
it all makes sense.
My one of my friends actually is really good about taking photos, and that kind of inspired me to take more photos. Like, he'll just like be like, oh, smile, and like take a picture of you, and or like you and your friend or something.
That's so nice.
And, like, I actually love that, because I always forget to take photos like with my friends. Like, I'm always looking for like the vibey photo, like the city skyline, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, take pictures of your friends in front of the city skyline, or like yourself, your family, your parents. Like, that's actually what is going to matter, because when you look back on these photos, you are not going to give a shit about the skyline or the sunset, like,
or the cocktail or whatever. Yeah.
The most valuable photos will be the ones of your loved ones and you smiling.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have so many more, but I also feel like these will all be like an hour-long conversation.
We can do a part 2.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to do another one?
Okay, so my last one for now, because maybe we'll do a part 2.
Yeah.
Is... This is another like surface level like dumb little thing, but I'm like, did I wear enough cute outfits
oh my gosh
while I was in my 20s? And I'm still in my 20s, but I'm like, did I do enough?
I kind of feel you, because when I go thrift shopping, I see all these outfits in my mind, but then I think about last winter, because my outfits really shine, I think, in the winter, because I don't like, summer clothes are so hard to make look cute.
You're a fashionista.
Oh my God, thanks.
I feel like I play it safe usually, but in my mind I'm like, I could pull that off, or that would look so good with that, but it'd be a little out there, but I would do it, and then I never do.
Wait, I always think of you as a fashion girly though.
Oh my God, thank you.
Like, since day one. Like, I was actually thinking about this the other day in the shower. I don't know what sparked this, but I was thinking about how since day one, high school, you always had on the cute outfit. Like, Tricia was wearing like the skirt with the tights with the boots and the cute top, like, long before anyone else.
Oh
like,
my God, thank you.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, I just always think you have like a dress that's like not what anyone else, or not anyone. It's like you pick a dress that like not everyone else has. I don't know. I always thought that about you.
I try to be unique, like my peers
true.
say.
Well, you are.
No, I do. I not to like toot my own horn, but I do.
No, toot it. Toot it loud.
Here I go. I really do. Like, I love fashion trends and I love to like be part of the trend, but whenever I'm out shopping for something, I really do try and get something that's on trend but slightly off.
Yes.
A little different, a little weird. And not to call my friends out, but I always laugh about this. I remember I bought a pair of espadrilles a few years ago, like
you
the
did.
platform sandals with like the woven bottom. Because honestly, the reason behind it was that I wanted shoes that had a little bit of elevation. So when I went out to the bars and stuff and was like in the public restrooms, I wasn't getting like splashed with unknown liquids onto my toes. And I thought that would be like a nice buffer to have a platform. And I sent a picture of the espadrilles to my friends, which they were not a thing at the time. They were unknown.
You like invented them.
Oh my God, thank you.
You really had them so early.
But I sent a picture to my friends. I'm like, these are a little different, but what do you guys think? It was like a gladiator sandal with a platform.
Okay.
And everyone goes, not my favorite, but like whatever you want. And I'm like, okay,
Please.
I'm still going to buy them.
That's how you know you probably should buy it.
Literally, yeah. I bought a vest recently that I wore to my sister's house and everyone was like, looks a little grandma-y. And I returned it.
And who are you?
I know. What do you know? No, I returned it because I'm like, well, realistically, it was a bit expensive and how often will I wear it? So I did return it.
Okay.
Wow, thank you so much for saying that, though.
Oh, of course. Oh my God. No, I mean it.
Happy.
Yes. Did you not take the tag off the vest?
No.
Oh, slay.
It had like a collar that folded down and the tag was like way down. Like you could tuck it. It was a thick, like quilted vest. There was no shot you could tell I had the tag on still. And I was just with my parents and my sister and my brother-in-law. So I was like, I'm just trying it out, see what the reaction
it's basically
is.
like an extended try on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I've done that when if I've opened something and like tested it and then put it back in the box or like, I don't know. I don't usually do it with clothes that often because it doesn't matter. But but I think to myself, if someone else used it in exactly how I just did, would I be sad to be the next like buyer of it? And if the answer is like, I wouldn't care, then I would do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, you're such a fashion girly.
Oh my
but
God, thanks. So are you.
Thank you. I also think that we could both just push ourselves more. Like, let's just do it. And I do think about outfits all the time. And then when it comes to like picking what outfit I'm actually going to be wearing out, I'm like, oh, but it's a little too cold. So like, I might as well just like add the second layer when like the second layer is not the cutest.
Right. Covers up the star of the show.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, okay, well, maybe this winter, because everyone is more, well, maybe not everyone. A lot of people seem to have more time in the winter. Like less people go out and do things. So then you have more time to just like play around with outfits and stuff. So I think I want to start like putting outfits together and like posting them. Yeah. Like taking pictures and like sharing outfits.
Oh my God, I would love that.
I think you should do it too.
I eat up fashion content.
You really do. Wait.
I'm obsessed. I can't get enough.
You also discover fashion influencers like 7 years before the world does. And then they blow up into the biggest fashion influencer. I'm not kidding. The one girl, Tricia, I don't know. Should I say her name? I guess I should.
Yeah.
Vivian Audi.
I love her. Shout out.
Trisha followed her day one and was like, this girl is so cool. She has the coolest outfits. Like her story's so cool. She seems so nice. You followed her or like I knew about her because of you, I'm pretty sure. And then like, because I remember I worked at this brand and they were like, oh, this fashion influencer, like we could possibly work with her. And you had already told me about her. I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I think I remember you saying that to me.
Yeah, because it was so long ago. I'm like, did that even happen? But I'm pretty sure it happened. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I know who this is because of my cousin. Yeah. And now look at her. She's like a huge, like highly successful fashion girly.
She's doing great.
Yeah. Killing, slaying, boots, house, cat. Is that what they say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I love that.
But yeah, you really do like invent all these things.
Thank you.
You need the clout for it. You discover things long before. Espadrilles is crazy. Like to think that you started those like years prior and you really did.
What can I say? No, I'm like blushing right now.
You deserve it.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. Please like do your fashion content.
I'll try. The next trend, or not even trend, the next like interesting piece of fashion that you discover and you like, but like it's not popular, we need to talk about it.
Okay.
So that we can be the first ones on the trend. And I'll put you in my Instagram bio and be like, styled by.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I would love that.
Let's do it. Okay, this episode was so fun. I have so much more to say. Like, I didn't even get to a quarter of the list that I made. So I think the next episode we should do more of this. And I'm going to talk about relationships, friendships, married and getting married, having kids, and the concept of just getting older as a whole. I have so much to say.
Mine are on like the same vein too.
Okay,
so
perfect.
That works out.
Perfect. I just like cannot wait to talk about the idea of getting married, the pressures to like get a ring on your finger and like relationships and like how you view them in your early 20s compared to how you view them in your late 20s. And like, just so much stuff to say. So we'll do another one very, very soon about similar topics, but different bullet points, I guess.
Yeah. If you're out of your 20s and have any advice for current 20-somethings, we would love to hear it.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Your 20s are a stressful time, so
I know.
So be nice to yourself.
Totally. And don't make excuses. This whole episode is me like making excuses.
Yeah.
As to why I still live in my hometown.
I know. We're like,
guys, it's
we're
really fine.
Yeah, we're fine. Don't worry about it.
It is though. Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.